When I was in college, I wanted to pursue a career in being a ranger for a national park or a wildlife trust. And as I always enjoyed being in the national park, I thought it'd be a good place to then help and gain that experience.
Well, we've walked around the enclosure for a number of years and we saw the signs up saying dog ambassadors required. I know a lot of people over here anyway. It seemed like a nice opportunity to be part of the community and get involved. To my surprise, I got accepted. Haven't looked back since. It's been absolutely great.
I've served a full career in the Royal Air Force and retired at age 55. And I was looking for something worthwhile to do with my time. I came across a volunteer ranger service working in the South Downs. We've become a very active volunteer group now. I just feel as if it's allowed me to contribute back to the world that I live in.
In Sri Lanka, my parents were looking for my husband, but they did not succeed. My husband was in England for a long time. He came here to look for a bride. My parents managed to persuade me, so all right, and I like to go to England anyway, so I agreed. Then the life wasn't what I thought it would be. He became violent, then it became a police matter, then put me in a refuge. Volunteering made me bring my life forward. Before that, I did not have a life. I was stuck in their basic life. In Sri Lanka, mostly we had to be told what to do, especially the women did not have a voice at all.
When I was looking for something to do, preferably in the open, because I've spent all my life in the office, but I really enjoyed walking on the countryside. And I saw a description of what they did on the South Downs, so I wanted to see if I could join as a volunteer. And I think it's one of the best things I've ever done.
People tend to be a little bit wary of a single person walking around. Merlin is a great icebreaker and gets you into conversations which you probably wouldn't normally have. He loves everybody, he loves everything. We've met so many people around here and become friends with a lot of them. Merlin loves it. He's more of the ambassador than I am. I help him. If you keep your eyes open and keep quiet, it's amazing what you can see up here. Bats are a protected species. Throughout the woods, there are bat nesting boxes. Halfway around the route, you've got a bat hut. It's a covered seating area with a roof which has got slats in it for the bats to hibernate in. Once a month, I have to log or list how many people are here. I break it down to adults and children, how many dogs on leads, and in general, how many people are here.
When I came to Brighton, then I started going for South Downs walks on my own. I met one of the South Downs volunteers and said, why don't you join us? So I joined the South Downs volunteers. That was lovely. That was a lovely one to join. I'm still here. And I'm always interested in nature because I always did my gardening back at home. I started this allotment here. I got very, very happy growing them. So plants, flower plants and vegetable plants. So I enjoyed doing that sort of work as a leisure.
Some of the motivation that I've felt as being a volunteer ranger is seeing the difference we really do make out in the landscape. With my Riverfly Monitoring, I've been working on the River Meon for some time, and we've run a project of reintroducing water voles. They were missing from this habitat because of the erosion of their lifestyle by the mink, which decimated the population of water voles that we had here. By controlling the mink and creating the right habitat for them, doing a lot of work on the river and its banks, we've been able to reintroduce water voles here, and now, seeing the evidence of them, 4 or 5 generations on from the ones that we reintroduced, is a great satisfying moment. And you see an increase in other wildlife because the water vole helps support that overall balance of biodiversity we have here. My passion is fly fishing, and being here I get to see the increase of biodiversity we have along the Meon Valley, and it's really brilliant. It's also allowed not just the volunteer ranger service but whole communities, villages, landowners to get involved with the project as an increased community sense of supporting this improving the biodiversity project of the River Valley.
I found when I was struggling with mental health, volunteering gave me something to look forward to, something I was confident in. Coppicing is one of my favourite tasks. I find it really satisfying to go in and just clear the woodland and then come back and see where all the flowers have grown, where they've got more light. It also helps the hazel dormouse, which is one of my favourite animals in the park. Coppicing means that they can get more food and more nest space. As a youth ambassador, we act as like a voice for people who live around here or use the South Downs National Park. With young people, it's important to get them involved because if you understand an area and care about it, you're more likely to respect it. Cameron and I, who is the other youth ambassador, we are kind of the face of youth volunteering for the park in a way that we can make it more inviting to other young people by showing that young people are volunteering with the park. The skills I've learned whilst volunteering, such as the surveying and the coppicing, I've used to set up a garden design business that's focused on creating wildlife-friendly gardens that are specific to the area where they are. Whilst working, I'm also going to keep volunteering because I'm passionate about the South Downs. And in the future, I'd like to become a ranger, either for the South Downs or a nearby reserve.
One day, one of the rangers suggested giving a talk on bumblebees, and I thought that would be good. And they suggested having a competition to see who could get the best picture of a bumblebee. So off I rushed with my camera, and what did I get? Nothing. The pictures were either blurred or the bumblebee had flown by the time I took the picture. So I thought this looks like an interesting thing to get into. So I started to investigate macro photography. Most people don't realise that they don't need to go to Africa on safari. There's a whole safari under their feet and in the bush alongside them. And I take great pleasure in being able to bring it to people's eye level so they can really understand what insects are like. Because I think if you see something and you appreciate it, you're more likely to care for it. The work we do as volunteers really does increase the chances of insects flourishing. We clear areas, letting sunlight in. We encourage lots of different insects and butterflies into our wonderful chalk grassland habitats. I would like to think that through my photography, my pictures and my articles, people will become interested in insects. I want to show how important they are because civilization certainly wouldn't exist as we know it without them.
Yeah, it's just lovely working in the group, isn't it? Talking, laughing, joking, and we all work together as a part of a team.
I suppose I like to think of the ambassadors as a link between the South Downs National Park and the community, and that we bring a friendly face to the area. When people see us, hopefully they think that this is a part of the national park and they've got to look after it, and we're there to lock it all together. That's the way I see it anyway.
Volunteering is a way for you to be in nature. You also learn lots of skills that you can use in other jobs or hobbies, completely different backgrounds to you. And you're also helping your local environment in such a direct way.
You do get great spirit out and about in the open air doing this sort of work. And it is so brilliant to see the difference you're making in the landscape and connecting with other people. It's an incredible web of connectivity between all the volunteers of all different walks of life with their friends and family to understand what the National Park's purposes are, because it pushes out the message we own this landscape and only through our efforts is it going to stay this beautiful place that it is today.